Senator Hagan. Senator Thune.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and I want to thank you all, Admiral, General, Mr. Secretary, very much for your service to our country, and appreciate your responsiveness to the committee and the questions that you're being posed today. And I would echo what the Senator from North Carolina has said on the issue of energy. That's something I have a great interest in, and the Air Force has taken quite a fairly aggressive, I think, at least, goal out there in terms of trying to acquire 50% of their domestic aviation fuel via alternative fuel blends in which the alternative component is derived from domestic sources. I think this issue of dependence, this dangerous dependence that we have on foreign sources of energy, is a very real issue, and of course the military is the biggest user, and so I hope that the Navy and the Marine Corps can move in that direction as well, because I do think it's not only it's a national security issue, obviously, but it's also something that I think, in terms of the economic security of the country, is really critical. So I'm hoping that you all can pursue that path as well. Admiral Ruffhead, I wanted to raise a question with you. I'm very concerned about the START follow-on treaty negotiations that we're currently having with the Russians, and particularly worried about the steep cuts that are being made to the number of delivery vehicles, and that it might necessitate making our nuclear triad a dyad. As you know, President Obama agreed in a joint understanding with President Medvedev last July to reduce the nuclear delivery vehicle somewhere in the range of 500 to 1,100 systems, and then a few days later, General Cartwright, who is the current vice chair and former head of Strategic Command, testified before this committee that he would be very concerned about the ability to maintain the nuclear triad if the number of delivery vehicles would go below about midpoint between 1,100 and 500, or in other words, if the number went to somewhere in the 800 delivery vehicle range. So the question I have, Admiral, is do you share General Cartwright's concern about the ability to maintain the nuclear triad if the final START treaty number agreed on for delivery vehicles is below that 800 delivery vehicle number?
Yes, sir. And as you know, the negotiations are still ongoing.
Right.
And, but I think as you get into the lower numbers that General Cartwright cited, it does become problematic. But we have been working with the Joint Staff, all the services, and clearly the value of the triad is well acknowledged.
Do you see a scenario in which that the triad might be in jeopardy if they agree to a number, though, that's below that 800? If you get down to the 700 and 750, and there's been some reporting in the Russian press that that's the range that they're looking at.
In the discussions that I've had, Senator, I'm not concerned that, nor have we had discussions about any elimination of a leg of the triad.
Good. Admiral, the new QDR rightly dedicates a lot of ink to deterring and defeating aggression in anti-access environments, and it directs the Navy and the Air Force to develop a new joint air-sea battle concept for defeating adversaries with sophisticated anti-access and area denial capabilities, which in turn will help guide the development of future capabilities needed for effective power projection operations. I strongly support expanding and improving our nation's long-range strike and power projection capabilities, and I was pleased to see you mention in your prepared testimony that the Navy, as directed by the QDR, is working with the Air Force to develop this new joint air-sea battle concept, and I understand that was discussed a little bit earlier this morning. I understand that you and the Air Force Chief of Staff signed a memorandum to begin developing this new operational concept last September. And I guess the question is, in your view, how will long-range strike capabilities fit into this new air-sea battle concept?
I think that they will fit into the air-sea battle concept, as will many other facets of that type of operation. We've also included the Marine Corps in air-sea battle, but I believe there's long-range strike that needs to be considered. Even the ability for us to be able to engage in an air-sea battle from under the sea becomes extremely important, and also the importance of networks in how we knit all this together is a key element, and I've made that point to my people that in addition to all of the kinetic considerations, that we also have to be thinking in terms of networks, because any adversary is going to be looking at that same thing as well.
Okay. Last September, the Manchester Guardian reported that the President has rejected the Pentagon's first draft of the nuclear posture review as being too timid, and has called for a range of more far-reaching options consistent with his goal of eventually abolishing nuclear weapons altogether, according to European officials, and that's a quote from that newspaper. Is that an accurate report?
I haven't read the Manchester Guardian, Senator, so but I've been involved in the NPR, and I believe that the process we've had, the considerations we've had, has placed great value on our nuclear deterrent force, all legs of that triad, and the considerations of being able to field the strategic needs of the nation. So I haven't read the article, but I'm very comfortable with the discussions we've had, the involvement that we've had, and how we're looking at things.
With respect to the delay on that, why is it continually getting pushed back? We're looking at now April, I think, is the latest date that we've heard in terms of that being completed.
Yes, sir. We continue to work with OSD on this, and I'll get back to you on the particulars of the delay.
Okay, good. Well, and I don't know that, and that reporting is like I said, that comes from a European newspaper, but we've been led to believe that the analysis guiding the START negotiations in the QDR was completed at the front end of that nuclear posture review process, and that the first draft was reportedly scrapped, a concern that it was too timid in terms of reducing the number of nuclear weapons. So, no, maybe you don't want to comment on that.
No, the too timid phrase is one that I had not heard before. I think as we have worked our way through what's a very complex process, I've been very comfortable with the discussions that we've been having, sir.
Okay. All right. Good. Thank you, gentlemen. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Senator Thune.